Golf Central.
The site, why lie? The tournament, the Sony Open. It's the first full field event on the PGA Tour since October, believe it or not. And here's a look at the tee times for round one beginning tomorrow. Off at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Jordan Spieth, Xander Schauffele, and Daniel Berger.
Oh, and just about 4.5 hours later, how about this trio? Zach Johnson, Jimmy Walker, still dealing with those effects from Lyme disease. We talked about that last night. And Patton Kizzire.
And right behind them, Justin Thomas, Jason Duffner, and Kevin Kisner. Some college football chatter will definitely be happening in that group.
I remember getting pretty excited, 5-6 holes left. Normally the watch comes on around then. A lot of people like to call 59 watch through 8-9 holes, but when you keep it going through 12-13 holes, that's when it's real. And he needed to eagle the last. He hit it in the lip of a bunker and hit just an incredible shot out. And then it's very difficult to make those putts under that kind of pressure when it really doesn't. It's not like to win a tournament where it's kind of, I've never been in that situation, but I imagine just off of other low rounds that I've been able to shoot, you start to feel kind of a pressure of how good can this be, or is this you almost feel disappointed if you don't, like if you were to not make that putt, even though it's a 60, So I think to kind of throw that out of his mind and free himself up and knock that left to right slider in on 18 is really special.
There he is. Justin Thomas defends his title at the Sony Open last year. He started the tournament with an eagle, finished the first round with a 59. He set the 32 and 54 hole score to par record on tour and earned his 4th win. Back to the spot with a jaw-dropping memory. Welcome into Golf Central, Chantel McCabe with Lisa Cordwell.
So you're saying that's good?
Yeah, pretty damn good.
Now, 12 months later, Thomas is a 7-time winner, a major champion, and the reigning PGA Tour Player of the Year. And oh yeah, who could forget that little $10 million bonus check he got for capturing the FedEx Cup? For more on the rapid rise in the ranks of this 24-year-old, we take you to Honolulu and Todd Lewis, who caught up with the defending champion on the course earlier today.
Justin, last year you broke so many records here at the Sony Open at Hawaii. As you look back on that week from a scoring perspective, how would you rate your performance in that tournament compared to other times in your career?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It was the best week of my career in terms of just everything being on. I drove it beautifully. I wedged it well. I chipped and putted really well. It was definitely a special week. But this is the kind of place where I feel like if you have all parts of your game on, you can kind of put up some crazy numbers.
The highlight of last year here, of course, was that 59. I know it's just another round on the PGA Tour, but if you look at what you did after leaving Hawaii, did that 59 throw some confidence in your tank as you moved forward in 2018?
That specific round, no, to be perfectly honest. I would say more the fact of closing the tournament out the way I did, that gave me a lot of confidence. I never played with the lead that big. I had never kind of gone that crazy in 3 days before, and just the guys that I was playing against, I never experienced that. So, the first round was the first round, but I had a lot of golf left. I easily could have gone and shot, 8 under the rest of the week over 3 days, and I wouldn't have won the golf tournament. So that's, I think to me, closing that tournament out was a lot more confidence booster.
Let's talk about this year. You arrive here on Oahu not after a victory like you did last year. You finished outside the top 20 on Maui. What mentality do you bring to this tournament now compared to last year?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I love this golf tournament and this course. So it's a place I'm comfortable with. It's a place that I like. It fits my eye well. But I didn't play as poorly as the results showed last week. I played the par fives just terribly, other than the last day, and I think I was maybe 1 or 2 over on them for the week going into Sunday, and that's where the meat of the course is. So if I play those how I should, and say 12, 13, 14 under par for the week, then I'm inside the top 5. So it really was just rust, and I had a hard time kind of getting over some of those stupid mental mistakes. But I feel a lot more prepared this week.
Finally, I know you want your main caddy, Jimmy Johnson, to get healthy and come back from that plantar fasciitis injury. However, you stole one from us. You got Jim Bones Mackay away for this week, early practice round chemistry with you two, what's it like?
It's great, and I mean, it's not like I wouldn't ask somebody that I didn't know or that I didn't know was a good caddy or I didn't know I'd get along well with. I mean, I've known Bones for a couple of years now, and just playing practice rounds and being around him, and he's a great guy, obviously a tremendous caddy, but yeah, it just was kind of crazy how it all happened, but I was fortunate he's kind of stepped in for me this week, and it's been great. We're great friends before this, so we're kind of getting to know maybe a different side to each other that we didn't know before, and we're having a good time out here.
Clubbing and strategy, is he influencing you at all?
Well, like you said earlier, he's like, I don't really want to get in your way in terms of strategy. You did pretty well here last year, but that's a good caddy knowing what to do there. But no, we've had a good time, and I think at first he was kind of getting a little bit better gauge for my game. He knew it from watching it, but didn't know it as precisely, and how far I hit clubs or what shots I like to hit, this and that. So as he's become more comfortable, and as I have, I think we're becoming a little bit more comfortable in saying how we feel, sort of thing.
Wish you all the best this week.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I have a feeling that pair will be a good dynamic duo. By the way, the last time Bones caddied at Waialae was in 1992, and guess who wasn't even born yet? Justin Thomas. Well. Unbelievable stuff. All right, time now for 3 on the TV. Bring in our experts, Tim Rosafort, Trip Eisenhower, and Jaime Diaz, as they tell us what to look forward to at this week's PGA Tour stop in Honolulu. And Rosie, let's start with you.
Well, I caught up with Bones yesterday and called it a unique opportunity. You should have a blast, guys, right? I mean, you're out there for the player of the year, and you also get to put the headphones on and go out and call golf for Golf Channel. He said, it's been a long time since he hasn't carried a bag since last summer when him and Phil Mickelson broke up after 25 years. He said there's some parts that he missed and some parts that he didn't miss. The parts he missed, obviously, was getting in contention and what that feels like as a caddy, having a big part of whether you win or you don't pull it across the line. And the other element, too, talking to him about it was, he had some bad knees, had knee replacement, and asked him if he was strong enough and ready to carry that big bag. And he said, yeah, exactly. His knees are actually 85 to 90%. There were years when he was 10 to 15%. And sounding like a real caddy, guys. He wrapped it up by saying the bag almost becomes part of you, So that's one thing that he hasn't forgotten, what that feels like, pulling up that big bag over his shoulder. And obviously, when things are going good, it's weightless.
Yeah, it kind of feels weird.
And, well, maybe he could be the first caddy to caddy in the final group with a headset on, right?
There you go, right.
I mean, that would be pretty cool to see Bones do that. But I'm going to go with a guy who has played quite well here and done everything but win here. And, of course, I'm speaking of Charles Howell. You can almost mark down that he's going to have a top 10 finish. When you look at how many times he's played here, he's always played the weekend, 16 straight cuts, and by the way, 9 top 10s. And look at that. Over $2.6 million in earnings from this one tournament alone. He's got a 67.5 scoring average. And I think one of the reasons why Charles Howell tends to play well right off of a big time off is because he does what I recommend, or what a lot of instructors say he should do more often, is practice the putting fundamentals. He spends a lot of time putting in the offseason and a lot of time on his short game. I used to see him do it all the time down at David Ledbetter's. I used to watch Charles do it, and I think because the proficient ball striking that's always there, when that putter is there for that time, before he gets distracted with swing thoughts and different kinds of things with his swing, he always seems to putt well right out of the gate, and he putts quite well at Waialae.
Time off could do him some good, but he'd also celebrating a milestone. Jaime, what about you?
Well, Waialae is an interesting place. It's kind of a throwback. It takes you back in time because it's like an 80s setup. It's only 7,000 yards. When I first started going there in the 90s, I thought it was pretty hard. A lot of rain, a lot of wind, a lot of rough. But the power game today, and maybe some widening fairways in the rough, not as tough. The scores have been really low, and I think you could see a 58, 59 again, and maybe even a 58, But, they put some teeth into the design. Seth Raynor's original design's been tweaked by Tom Doak. And, maybe there's a little more movement in the greens, and maybe scoring might not be as high. But I really think that the scoring average at Waialae is going to be, it's been low. It's the lowest par 70 of all the par 70s, and the 72-hole record is set there. So it tends to be, though, of course, more accuracy oriented. I think you'll look for good medium length hitters who do the best. I think Jordan Spieth, it's made for him. It's a great way for him to start the year and build some momentum.
Oh,
he finished third there last year, by the way, with a 63 in the final round.
So you're predicting a possible another 59 or 58?
Sure. I think it's as likely a place as any on tour.
All right. Good stuff, guys. We'll see you back in just a few minutes. Lisa, over to you.
Morgan Hoffman is in the field this week in Hawaii, making his first start since revealing in early December that he has muscular dystrophy. Hoffman, a 6-year member of the PGA Tour, was diagnosed with the disease in 2016, but first noticed a change to his body back in 2011. The best news right now, Hoffman says he feels healthy and strong. The PGA Tour moves over to the island of Oahu as 2017 PGA Tour Player of the Year Justin Thomas headlines the first full field event of 2018. Our coverage of the Sony Open in Hawaii begins tomorrow night, 6 Eastern. Still ahead on Golf Central, it's tax season, and Rex Hoggard has details on what the tour did to keep its important status. It's also a time of celebration for a couple of longtime PGA Tour members. Find out what they're being rewarded for. And all week long, we've been breaking down the best players in their respective age groups. Tonight, it's the top 5 players in their 40s.
Golf Central is brought to you by the Hawaiian Islands. Visit gohawaii.com/golf. Golf Now VIP. Say goodbye to convenience fees.